And are you Justin Yokel?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
Is Courtney Geyer here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. All right. Let me know why you're asking for a continuance.
My phone's broken. I haven't spoke with the guardian ad litem yet, and I just got all the paperwork and stuff turned in. I didn't know all the extensive dates and everything that I had to track down and put down on the paperwork for her. And I just got it sent off to her. I don't even know if she's had time to review it yet or not.
All right. Just a moment. Ms. Turnbull, we're addressing the case of Yorkel versus Geyer. I think you're the guardian ad litem. Mr. Yokel has indicated that he hasn't had time to get you the information that you've requested and is asking for a continuance of today's hearing. Let me go to Ms. Geyer next. Do you have any objection to a continuance?
No, all my stuff's been done already though.
Okay.
My stuff's done. It's just I don't know. I don't think the ladies had time to review it yet, but.
Ms. Turnbull, if we were to put this out until you'd be able to put your report together, how long would that be at this point?
Well, that's hard to say, given I don't have any information back from Mr. Yokel. So it would take, I would say, at least 60 days after I get that information back from him.
Oh, I sent it in the mail on Monday. I don't know.
Okay, so why don't we shoot for 60 days then, maybe from next week?
All right. Let me just give you the date and then you both can comment on it. That would be July 20th. Would be 60 days.
Okay, let me double check my calendar. That works for me.
Mr. Yokel, does that work for you?
Yes, Your Honor. I was just curious. Is there a way we can have some kind of thing to where I see my son in between that now and in July 20th?
I think I'm going to need some input from Ms. Turnbull before I make that decision.
Okay.
I'll set 2 hearings coming up. Let's set one in a month. And then we'll also be back on July 20th, which is when I'm going to hope the final report is done. Okay. Does that work for you, Ms. Geyer?
Okay.
Okay. So we'll be back here on June 8th, and I'm also scheduling here another review date of July 20th.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
Is Joseph White here?
I don't think so.
So my note was to check on the status of their reunification counseling. Has that started?
So yes, Your Honor. I went to my initial appointment with her. And when I did, she said that Joseph missed his appointment. So yeah, I asked him, or I actually texted him and I told him that he missed his appointment, and then he said that he didn't, and that it was like, I don't know, it was a few days ago at 5, he said, but yeah, I haven't heard anything back. I have been able to speak with my child though, so that's great.
Okay. So there hasn't been any in-person time with your child at this point?
Not yet, no.
Okay. My recollection is the reunification counseling was with Miss Rosen. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So is there anything scheduled at this point for an in-person meeting?
So the way that she does things is she told me that she was supposed to meet with me and then meet with him, and then we would go ahead and bring Savannah in. And then we would all meet together, you know, the 3 of us would meet together, not Joseph, but Savannah, myself, and the counselor. And I don't know. I know that I made it to my appointment, but like as far as him making it to his, I don't know.
Okay. So I want to keep tracking this until those appointments start.
I appreciate
and if Mr. White is somehow not cooperating, I want to know that fairly soon so I can deal with it.
I
So
really appreciate it.
I'm going to set another hearing in 2 weeks, and I'm hoping by that time that in-person visits have started. And if they haven't, then I'm going to have to take some action to make sure that happens right away. Okay.
Thank you so. Okay, thank you so much, Your Honor. I really appreciate you.
Okay, and you can let Mr. White know that, so hopefully he'll be here at that
Yes,
time.
sir.
Okay.
I'm
Thank you so
here. I'm
much.
working on my camera.
Okay, that's fine. Hi. All right, I think we're back here to determine what we're going to do, I guess, with the child support that's ordered. And I know Ms. Hiltz has asked for a requirement that Ms. Latos pay $1,000 a month. Ms. Latos had provided documents from her work indicating that some of her wages are garnished at this point. So Ms. Hiltz, why don't you summarize exactly what you're wanting the court to do at this point?
Well, we were here last month. She was held in contempt for not paying. She stated that she was moving to Las Vegas to try and find a job as a poker dealer down there. And then you set this over to check on her employment status, is my understanding. I'm not, what do I want the court to do? I want you to issue a bench for it. That's what I want. I don't think that short of a warrant for her arrest, we are going to get her to comply. We are separated for 4 years now, sir. She has been 2 years of failing to comply with any court orders without any repercussions. She continually gets civil penalties to which she never pays. She gets judgments that she never pays. She has child support that she doesn't pay. I haven't had any child support this month or last month. And yet she continues to hold up my life in court. If she really doesn't want to be a part of this, she needs to just relinquish her rights and and walk away so that I don't have to come to the court for everything and I can live my life as I see fit. Otherwise, I want her to get a job and pay child support and do what she's supposed to do. Get drug and alcohol treatment, get therapy, do whatever she's got to do to be a healthy, active participant in life.
Ms. Latos, any response?
Yes, and I don't know, she mentioned drug and alcohol treatment, but she was the one that lost her foster care license for smoking marijuana with a foster child. I don't see, I don't have the finances to smoke marijuana anymore. I have a job lined up for the end of this month to deal at the WSOP, the World Series of Poker, with Caesars Entertainment. I'll be dealing at the Rio. And I mean, I do what I can.
There hasn't been much in the way of payments for a while, except for what was garnished, right?
Correct. I've only been able to pay what's garnished. And
How many days is the job at the World Series of Poker?
it'll be 3 months, and hopefully I'll get on permanent afterwards.
Do you know
Well,
about
2.5
how
months.
much? You know how much you'll be making? When you're there?
I expect it is minimum. Well, it's a little over minimum. I think it's $12 an hour plus tips, and I really hope to make some big money on tips. I'm hoping to average $20 to $30 an hour.
Is it full-time or part-time?
It says part-time, but from what I've heard from the other dealers, I should have no problem getting 40 hours.
That starts when?
The end of May. They haven't given me an exact date, but the World Series, I believe, starts that last Monday in May with an industry event.
Ms. Hiltz, any response?
Only to the comment she made about the foster care, just because this is on the record. She's referencing an incident that's over 20 years old that isn't true. That's
It
all.
is.
Just, it's, you know,
This
I realize
this
it's completely irrelevant, but it's still being live streamed on YouTube. So I just need to make it clear that that's not factual and it's, again, so.
all right, this hearing
Right, I know,
has nothing to do with that.
I know.
Well, here's the kind of box we're in. If I issue a bench warrant and Ms. Latos is arrested, that's going to prevent her from earning income that can possibly go to Ms. Hiltz. And,
That's okay with me, honestly.
okay,
I'm like, it's not like I'm getting it anyways. I firmly believe this is the only thing that is going to get her to act. You can do whatever you want, but until an officer picks her up and somebody has a
Your
bail
Honor,
set, she's not going to comply with your orders.
Your Honor,
all right, briefly,
Your Honor.
go ahead.
A bench warrant would also prevent me from probably, I'm not sure, but they do background checks on poker dealers, and a bench warrant would probably prevent me from having that job.
Then you should pay your child support.
All right, we're not going to
I
talk
pay
to
what
each
I
other.
can.
This minute, we're not going to talk to each other. All right, so anyway, I described the concern I have. I think my main goal is not to put people in jail on this docket. It is to try to get the child support paid. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do.
And I have one more question, Your Honor.
Let me finish first.
Okay, sorry.
All right, I'm going to put this over to June 22nd. By June 15th, Ms. Latos is to pay $1,000 to Ms. Hiltz. My thinking there is that's going to give you a couple weeks working at the World Series of Poker, making tips. I'm thinking you'll make the $1,000. If you do that, then we'll bump this over to the next month. You'll owe another $1,000 the next month. If you haven't paid the $1,000 by June 15th, and let me be clear here, that means Ms. Hiltz has to receive it. So somehow you need to make sure she's got it. If you haven't paid it by June 15th, when we're here on June 22nd, I will issue a bench warrant. Okay.
No problem.
So that is and then we'll track these payments for a couple months. Because again, the goal here is to get some child support paid. All right.
All right. And I do have a question before we leave.
Sure.
When do I get to see the boys?
Well,
I've not seen them in a long
if
time.
You'll have to look at the orders that were entered by Judge Evans, I think in mid-April. And
Okay.
That will lay out what your how that will work. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
I will get. Thank you.
All right. So we see you back here.
Your Honor.
All right. Good morning.
Your Honor, this
Morning.
is David Camisa. I'm here for Miss Young this morning.
Okay. Ms. Young has brought a motion to waive the GAL fees. Do you want to address that, Mr. Camisa?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Young is experiencing financial hardship as seen in the motion and just asked the court to waive the fees for the GAL.
All right. Mr. Miller, do you have any comment on this particular motion?
No, I still need to get my GL part done now.
All right. So I've read the motion. Let me turn to, so Ms. Young has indicated that her gross pay each month is $26.78 and her take home is $23.08. And she supports two people, herself and a child. And the guidelines for 125% of poverty level, which is at the point we can waive the GAL fees and have the county pay, is $2,066, and that's gross pay. But even if we looked at that in terms of net, she's above that threshold.
Can I state something, please?
Sure.
So how does she support two people if Malaya resigns with me? That would content that she only has herself that she takes care of.
Okay, well, we get to the same place here, which is she, even on a net basis, is making above poverty level. And so at this point, I cannot grant the motion. Let me ask you, do you know if she's receiving any state benefits, Mr. Camisa?
No, Your Honor, I don't believe so.
All right. So based on the guidelines that I have, I'm going to have to deny that. Let me hear from Mr. Miller, and then Ms. Young, I'll hear from you. Mr. Miller.
No, I don't have anything to say right now, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Young, go ahead.
I was gonna say I did before receive I had food stamps, but those were canceled like back in February.
Okay, but you don't receive them now, right?
As of like 2 days ago.
Mr. Miller, how long have you been the primary parent?
With Malaya,
Yeah.
I'm going on 3 years now.
Okay. All right.
No.
Well,
I have, I'm not gonna argue.
I'm, again, I was given a declaration of what the earnings are. The earnings are above the threshold that I have to work with, even assuming there's 2 folks in your household. So I'm going to deny the motion. All right. Thank you. Next up, we have Pamela Pascal.
Oh, wait, hey, Your Honor, sorry. Am I free to go?
Yes, you're free to go.
Oh, okay, thank you.
On to the next case.
But
That judge is a fucking.
All right, Pamela Pascal and Stefan Pascal.
Your Honor, I'm here.
All right.
I'm here.
Ms. Pascal, this is your motion to waive the requirement of a mandatory settlement conference. You want to go ahead and address that?
Yes, I would like a waiver of the mandatory settlement conference for my divorce because I do not feel safe around the respondent because of domestic violence. I have no settlement. I gave the respondent everything except for my personal belongings, and I requested in my divorce papers that he send them to my brother in Arizona, James Childress, and that's all I want. And so I have no need to have one. And I also don't want to have any more contact with the respondent because of the domestic violence issues that we had.
Was there at any time a protection order in place?
No, sir, there wasn't. I didn't need one. I've kept myself incognito since June of last year, the 8th. And I've had help with the Adult Protective Services to keep that way. I'm going to counseling at Calais Community Behavioral Services with Stephanie Baxter for CPTSD from my living with the respondent. So I've been just keeping myself hidden from the respondent, and I just want to get a divorce.
Let me tell you a little bit about how the process usually works. First of all, we're usually on Zoom, and if somebody has a domestic violence concern, we can put you in a separate room called a breakout room so that during the conference, you never really have contact with Mr. Pascal. You're just dealing either with me or another either judge or court commissioner with that. Would that make any difference to you?
I don't, like I said, there is nothing to be settled. The respondent wants, I don't know if you can see what he asked for, is according to Stephen Swinson, my attorney that I got counseling from at Northwest Justice Project, he said it was silly. I do not need
silly. What was silly?
The demands that I have behavior counseling, and he's going to pay for it, saying the marriage isn't irreparable. To me, the line was crossed when I got assaulted. So I just do not want to go there. I don't see the point. It's a waste of the court's time, my time, and just it'll traumatize me more. It's just his way of abusing me some more. And I don't want to be abused anymore by him.
And so if I waive it, then that means you're going to go directly to a trial.
Why?
Well, because if there's a disagreement, that's how it gets resolved. You have to go in front of a judge, probably on Zoom again, and try to resolve those disagreements.
Well, Your Honor, I have no money to do things like that. As it is, I've had to do everything by myself with hardly any help at all. And the respondent has lots of money and he has everything. He has everything. I have no funds beyond my Social Security, and it's very small amount, and I'm able to survive on it, and that's it. I get nothing else. So the trial it costs money, right?
Well, you can represent yourself, so then there would be no real actual cost to it. Okay, let me go to Mr. Pascal and hear what he has to say, and we'll I'll let you have the last word. Okay, Ms. Pascal.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Pascal, any response?
Can you hear me okay?
I can now, yes.
Well, in this action, I'm not asking for anything. I have a, first of all, as I've written in my responsive documents, this was a bolt out of the blue to me. There had been, as I understand it, there had been no physical abuse whatsoever. There was no striking, fighting, arguing, hitting, yelling, screaming, throwing of things, zero. There was no intimidation, demanding, coercion. What I did observe was that my wife, in retrospect, had begun evidencing what she later, just before she left, termed schizophrenia. And I don't think this is the venue to discuss this. And I'm glad she's getting counseling from a county mental health care associate. But there's no question in my mind whatsoever that what she's characterizing as abuse is a form of delusion. I'm her fourth husband. This may be a pattern, but I was occupied, obsessed with my own problems and wasn't tracking how Pam was doing. And I understand now, I believe, where this came from. But I believe it's an emotional health issue. There was no abuse. I understand what she's interpreting as abuse right now, and it's a complicated emotional mental health issue. I'm not looking for a settlement of property, and I'm devastated that this has been happening. But Pam is under no threat for me. I believe that, I understand my role in the creation of a delusion, but it was unwitting and it wasn't threatening. I believe the delusion is threatening. So and the family here has been devastated. So for me to understand, either from Pam or from an intermediary, exactly what this abuse amounts to, I think would help her and me. I believe if there has been abuse, it's been by people who recommended to her that she flee without saying a word about it, without the understanding that she might be wrong in what she's apprehending, and that she's barking up the wrong tree, as it were. No one suggested counseling. No one apparently suggested to her that she even asked me what I thought was going on in my interpretation of things. It is, I believe, an emotional health issue. It is not an issue of belief. I had no abuse in my heart whatsoever. And as I said, she can't point to the fact. There's a lot of stress here, and that's the problem. My one son was diagnosed with brain cancer. My other son has mental illness issues. I was involved in a miserable ongoing crusade against injustice in the court system, which Pam is familiar with. And so I was tuned out. I was disconnected. I didn't have a feel for what was going on. But like I say, I have an understanding that Pam's belief of abuse is fear. It's a delusional fear, and I think it's affected her.
Okay, Mr. Pascal, I think I've heard enough.
Once again, as I suggest, go ahead.
I think I understand your position on this. So let me go back to Ms. Pascal. I'd like to hear from her again, and then I'll make a decision. Ms. Pascal, any response?
Yes, I was actually advised by the Bainbridge Island, Virginia Mesa Clinic in 2020 after the respondent hurt my knee really bad in August, and I wasn't taken to the doctor. And then later in the end of October or so, I got to go in for some stupid skin thing. It isn't real anymore. I'm fine. They found out that I had a torn meniscus and a dent in my bone around my leg. And he did it during one of his rages that he has a problem with. I was told that somebody turned me into Adult Protective Services then, and they told me I needed to get out of there. It wasn't safe for me to live there anymore. I had to wait 2 years to get anyone. And my daughter, Genevieve Grant, found some friend where I'm at now in this county to come and get me when I couldn't take it anymore after him doing some weird thing on date night causing me to bleed, and I had enough. Okay, so that was it. And I left from my yoga class with a ride, and they took me down here for my safety. The protective services were called in by the respondent. The 2nd of August, I had a meeting with them, and somebody else who heard my story turned him in for all these abuses for domestic violence. Okay, and so I talked to the APS. They gave me a dementia test, said I was fine, but they offered other services, and I told them I had things taken care of. Protection order was actually asked to do. I looked into it. I didn't see the point, that it would just exacerbate the situation, and I was safe anyway. I've had friends down here help me stay safe. That's the whole idea. As far as being schizophrenic, you end up looking kind of like that when you pretend everything's okay and it isn't. And I got out. So there you go. And I couldn't even get a divorce. It was so messed up. I couldn't get counseling because I was so poor. I only got a counselor after I was having trouble getting divorce even filed in November with Stephanie Baxter. And Stephanie believes that I have been abused. The women's shelter believes I've been abused. Even my lawyer. And I don't really, I'm sorry that, my respondent doesn't accept this, but this is it. And I believe he's delusional at his abuse that he's done to me for many years during our marriage. I hung in there for him and his family, and I just couldn't do it anymore. My blood pressure was 173 when he went on rage when I tried to go to the doctor. And when I came here, I had low kidney function too from the stress that my doctor told me. He was very concerned, and I was underweight. So I am sorry, Your Honor, but I still insist. I'm not actually sorry. I insist to have this just wavered so I can just move on to my divorce and have a hearing. If I have to have a trial because that's the way it is, so be it. But I have no money to pay for it. I don't mind self-representative pro se. I might be able to get some help from Northwest Justice Project as far as that goes. But whatever, I mean, the APS has all my medical records showing his abuse. And so those are my documents. And I asked them, is that proof? Yes, it is. They said, so we can go there and then we'll have to do that. I was trying not to do this so his sons wouldn't have to see this on record. I don't want them to hate him because I think they would if they knew what he'd done to me. So that's
Holy
it.
smokes.
And I'm trying to keep this private, but it has to be what it does.
All right.
May
thank you.
I say something here?
No, Mr. Pascal.
Why not? I mean,
Yes, I'm ready to rule here. Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm ready to make a decision. All right.
Well, the question here is that my
Sir,
claim.
Sir, we're done. I'm going to make a decision. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, we can avoid a trial.
So Ms. Pascal has mentioned a number of issues of abuse, and for the purposes of this hearing, I'm going to accept that that's all true. Okay. And then the question is, do I waive a mandatory settlement conference and require the parties then to go to a trial to resolve their whatever differences there are, which means at the least they're both going to be on Zoom just like today. They're both going to be making arguments against the other. It seems to me a trial is a place that's going to foster more abuse than the mandatory settlement conference. The mandatory settlement conference, we can put the parties in different rooms so they don't have to encounter each other. The judicial officer will go back and forth. And so it seems to me the protections are more available in a mandatory settlement conference than they are at trial. Secondly, both parties have told me neither of them wants any property. All they want to do is get divorced. The soonest, or the way to do that, the soonest, is to do a mandatory settlement conference where, if necessary, the judicial officer can put together the paperwork to complete the divorce. So given that, I'm going to deny this motion because I think Ms. Pascal is actually going to be protected more in a mandatory settlement conference process. And it appears to me that that is probably going to be successful because neither party wants anything other than to complete the divorce. And in that process, they don't have to address each other. So I'm going to deny the motion. One or the other of you should set this for a mandatory settlement conference. You have to put it on the universal trial setting calendar on Wednesday at 1. Get a mandatory settlement conference date. And then if I happen to not be the judicial officer for your case, make sure whoever you have puts you in a separate room so that Ms. Pascal, you don't have to address Mr. Pascal directly. Okay. All right.
Okay, Your Honor, I will be the one that will do it up down here
Okay.
because it's inconvenient for the respondent. And am I going to have to give him another whatever they call it, serving thing, or can we get one now here?
You will need to send him in the mail the notice that schedules the date to go to the universal trial setting.
Email works too.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Now you heard that email because that's costing me money every time I have to send him anything. It's been really tough on my
Okay.
income.
Well, if you can scan it and email it, then that
Oh,
would
yeah.
be perfect.
Yes,
Let me
sir.
also tell you, Ms. Pascal, it's okay if you want to have somebody with you at that conference. If that would help you feel safer, you can do that. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pascal. All right. Next is Tristan Liwalo. I hope I said that right. And Selena Liwalo. Yeah, you're smiling, so there must be another pronunciation. How do you pronounce your last name?
It's Laywallow.
Laywallow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, give me a point for being close on it. Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me go to my notes. So this is a motion for a restraining order, I believe, by Mr. Laywallow. All right. Tell me why you're seeking a restraining order.
Okay, so first of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you for the time. I know that we got pushed. She requested extra time, so now we're here a week later. As you must see, I have the final divorce, the finding conclusions about our marriage, the parenting plan, the child support order, and the Washington State child support schedule worksheets. Those are all finalized, approved, and just April 13th. So everything is done. The reason for this motion to immediate the restraining order was because for the past 6 try to give her all the chances she's wanted to communicate with our kid. We have 5 kids, ages 3 to 8. Currently, work and school has been amazing. They've worked with my schedule. Now taking the kids to school by myself. I'm working all by myself. I'm doing it all, and that's fine. But with this restraining order for the past 3 months, well, it's been gone for 6 months. For the first 3 months, she was staying at her family's house. As you can see, it's an ongoing sexual assault case. Next, on May 18th, we have the readiness hearing. The pre-trial conference is May 18th, other than the jury trial is supposedly at the end of July. So for my knowledge, the beginning time she was over there and she didn't think of it. I didn't think of it. That hurt my kids. It hurt our kids seeing her go back over there, whether she liked it or not. That's where the incident happened. And now, 2 months ago, we have now realized that it has happened to another one of our child. She knows of this. We went to the CJAC interview. We've done all that. But I think that now we've given her every chance. We've given her to communicate, and it's just whenever she feels like it. It's on her time. It's whenever she pleases. Now with this parenting plan that is approved, I would like it to be like that. Or if not, then I would like this restraining order to be put in place, because I think my kids and I need stability. We need a routine. She can't be coming in and out, popping in and out wherever she wants. And for the past 2 months, 3 months, hasn't helping us with anything, hasn't given us no type of anything, help or anything. And I just think that if she wants to do what's best for her, then that's fine. But I just think that our 5 kids need peace. We need to move on with life. I wish the best for her, nothing but the best. And I just want me and my 5 kids to live at peace. If she wants to, so be it, that's fine. But I just don't think that we need it to be on her time when she wants. We have 5 kids and they would love to see her mom. They would love to see her at any time given, but it's only when she wants. And I don't think that's fair.
Well, okay, I'm looking at the parenting plan, so I got some questions.
Yeah.
First of all, this is one of the most restrictive parenting plans that I've seen. Okay, so there's text, phone calls, and video 1 time a day, and then any visitation, you have to be present during all of the visits. What I don't see is some type of schedule in here for that, and
because there is no schedule.
So
we to make a schedule, make a day. She doesn't give a day. Doesn't.
All right. So if today we picked a date when she actually will show up and see the kids, would that satisfy your concerns?
Yes, that would be amazing. But if she sticks to it, like
I understand that, but there hasn't. I don't see. I mean, this plan was entered 2 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. But I don't see a schedule in there. It doesn't say every Tuesday at 5 p.m. she's going to come over for 2 hours. So, okay. All right. Let me hear from Ms. Lewallow, and then I'll probably have more questions for both of you. Okay.
Good morning, Your Honor. How are you?
Would you like to respond?
Well, I guess first and foremost, he had put in the restraining order, but that same day he had called me, and then the following day had sent me messages. So it kind of goes against the whole restraining order. When he puts it on me, but yet contacts me, I did not call back. I did not message back. I did not want to get in trouble for even responding, so I left it alone. As far as his argument of me living with my mom, yes, I did go and stay with my mom. I left due to domestic violence, the emotional and the mental abuse. I couldn't do it anymore. It became my depression, my anxiety got the best of me, and I knew that if I didn't leave, I wasn't going to be around. And so I knew the situation would be better, and that's what I did. Granted, did I do it the best way? No, and I take full responsibility over that. As far as neglect and abandonment over my kids, I've never lived around my kids. I tried my best. I just started working at a care facility. I'm getting my med aid license and my CNA. So right now I'm a RCP at an assisted living. And as far as like visitations with him, I personally am not comfortable visitations with him just because of how our marriage was and how things transpired between us. And so I personally do not feel comfortable being around him when it comes to being with the kids. I love phone calls, I love video chats, but as far as in-person visitations, I am not comfortable with him being there, period.
Well, the court has already entered an order that says that the father is to be present during all visits.
Yes, so I have paperwork here that I will be filing today to put in a petition against the parenting plan so that we can hopefully figure out something that's a little bit more suitable for the both of us, because we both deserve to see the kids. So that's where I'm at. And so the whole restraining order doesn't really make sense because you put it and then you contact me the same day that it gets put in. So that kind of goes against the whole thing. So I'm just lost.
Is there a day? Well, it says in the parenting plan that you can text, phone call, or video 1 time a day. If you were to do a video visit, what time during the day would?
I get off of work, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I get off at 2. I work 6 a.m. to 2, and then Thursdays and Fridays, I'm 2 to 10. I work a swing shift, and then I work graveyard shifts on the weekends. So anytime Monday through Wednesday, and after 2, I am completely available for the kids. And if there is a restraining order, how am I supposed to go with video chatting and calling if there is one with us?
Mr. Lewallow, if we set up at a minimum a video chat Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 4 p.m., would that be something you could attend, or are you working during that time?
It would be like 5. The kids get off at school at like 3:30, so be, in my opinion, would be kind of a rush.
Okay.
So I would 4:45.
All right. Would 5 work for you, Ms. Lewallow?
Oh yeah, that's not a problem at all.
All right. I want to establish something that everybody can consistently depend on.
Yes, agreed.
Okay. All right. First of all, let me address the request for the restraining order. What I've read, what I've heard today is that Mr. Lewallow doesn't like the fact that the mom will see the kids whenever the mom feels like it. He wants a set schedule.
Yes.
Ms. Lewallow said, I'm not comfortable even seeing the kids when the dad is around. But just a minute. But either way, it really isn't the kind of grounds that support a restraining order. And so I'm going to deny the restraining order. That's certainly without prejudice to bring it again if you feel it's necessary. But I think that the next step we need to take is set some specific times when there's going to be contact with the children. So I'm going to set at least at a minimum Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 5 p.m. for a video conference with the children.
Okay.
Now, if Ms. Lewallow wanted to say, I also want to see the kids once a week for a few hours, and Mr. Lewallow will be present, we can figure that out. But if your position today is, I don't want to see him if Mr. Lewallow is there, then I can't establish that time.
That is okay. I personally think video chats are okay for now until I'm able to get in these court documents into the courts today, and then we can go from there. But I'm totally fine with video chats for now because it gives me something with the kids. So I am completely fine with that, Your Honor.
All right. So today's Thursday. So these are going to start next Monday.
Perfect. That sounds amazing to me, Your Honor.
All right. Monday at 5. I don't know that I need to set a review hearing because really all the final orders have been entered. If you're going to file a motion to change those in some ways, that will be set for a hearing.
Okay.
Are you there?
Not
Ms.
great. I
Alexander?
totally understand that, Your Honor.
Oh, yes, I am here now. I didn't hear you. Sorry about that.
Okay, good. So I did see that there was a declaration of service on the mother, Brianna Alexander. As I understand it, the father is unknown at this point. Is that right?
Your Honor, that's correct. There's no father listed on the birth certificate.
Right, that's what I've got. All right, and I don't see Brianna Alexander here. I think we're here to consider the full guardianship. And Ms. Day, I assume you're in favor of Don Alexander being appointed full guardian.
Yes, Your Honor, we are here for entry of the full guardianship. I am in favor of that. Mother is not available, not willing, and not capable at this time. So I think that makes the most sense for Maisie and provides for her protection.
Okay. Do we have an order that's in here? The order is being handed up to me. All right, Ms. Alexander, I've signed your guardianship order. The only change I made to it was it listed, there's a box for parent 1 and parent 2, and I wrote for parent 1, Brianna Alexander, and parent 2 is unknown. Otherwise, everything in your order, I've read through it, I've accepted. I don't see Cateron Cutbirth here at this point. Ms. Farr, have you been able to look into this case?
I've read the pleadings, Your Honor. I left a message for Ms. Cutbirth.
She's in the waiting room right now.
Okay.
So let's bring her in. And I was just talking with Ms. Farr about what she has done at this point. So why don't you go ahead?
So I was saying I've reviewed the pleadings. I did leave a message for Ms. Cutbirth. I haven't heard back from her yet. And I do not have contact for Mr. Peters or Ms. Kroll. So if the two of you could please contact me. I don't have a phone number for either one of you.
I just got your email this morning, so
Okay, so if you can get in contact with me as well, then we can move forward.
Yeah. I was worried. Oh, I was,
what?
I was worried about that because I didn't know if you had my number, and I was called the courthouse I thought he said Lisa. I was trying to get a hold of you because I wasn't sure if you were contacting us or the other way around. Yeah, so here we are.
Okay. So we can all make contact this week, hopefully, and we can move forward.
Well, I was going to say that me and all of us have kind of been able to talk over the last month since the last court hearing, and we were thinking Bruno's done good with his phone calls. I was hoping that as long as, and Shira agreed to do the UA, we talked about it, and as long as she could pass a UA, I'd be willing to kind of let this go and just have Bruno return to Shira. I think ultimately that's the goal anyway. I just wanted to make sure that, he's going to somebody who, just making sure she's clean. Other than that, I've been to her house. I know she has one, a place for him to go. So I don't know if there's a way to expedite it, but I know that Bruno's struggling with being kind of in limbo, if that makes sense.
I talked to Bruno last night, and he was really expressing wanting to come back. And I had some good news. Like, I live with a roommate now, but I have a friend who's a private landlord, and he has a house available on 20th. It's a 2-bedroom home, not an apartment. And I can move in today and tomorrow. That'd be pretty cool to have him, help decorate it and set it up. Feel like it's really his home. It was really exciting news. He seemed really, I don't know what the look. He seemed defeated yesterday. He didn't say anything either way about anything, but he just, like she said, he's struggling with limbo.
Well, I will say that yesterday when he was talking to you on the phone, I didn't get a chance to talk to you afterwards, but he was on his tablet while he was talking to you. So he was kind of just going, like, you would be like, is everything okay? I wasn't like in the room. I was kind of doing my own thing, but you're like, is everything going okay? And he's like, well, I don't know. And he was kind of distracted on his tablet, if that makes sense.
It's he seemed depressed.
Yeah.
But the tablet, he let me know. He's like, well, he has to go because he wanted to play on his tablet. It's his nice escape. His kids love those tablets.
Okay, let me let you know the court's position on these cases. This isn't the first time that somebody's come in and said, well, on second thought, or we've been talking and we think we just want to dismiss it. The issue, though, is the court has now essentially taken jurisdiction over this. And so there needs to be some minimum work done to make sure that Bruno is going to be safe.
Bruno's going to be safe in my home, and nobody's come over to check it out. I've been waiting for 3 weeks now. Catherine's been invited over. I've tried to establish some sort of connection with her so she can see for herself how I'm doing. Nobody ever checked on me at any point in time to see what I'm doing, only assumed what I was doing. I'm not doing anything I shouldn't be doing.
The person that needs to check on all that is Miss Farr.
I know, it's been 3 weeks, and Bruno hasn't even seen me physically. He's seen me on the phone. This 3 weeks I could have been spending with my son. It wasn't even necessary. If somebody just reached out to me to let me know that this was.
Ms. Kroll, we're going to get to a place where we may dismiss this minor guardianship. I don't think being combative with me is going to be productive.
I'm not trying to be combative. Right. I'm just trying to see my son.
You are being combative, and it's not going to help your position. So I have an obligation to make sure that Bruno is going to be safe. I know you feel you're in a safe place, but I need Ms. Farr to look into that. So Ms. Cutbirth has requested that you do a UA. If you could do that in the next couple of days and get the result to Ms. Farr. So that would be next couple of days means by next Monday.
Yeah.
And then if both Mr. Peters and Ms. Kroll could contact Ms. Farr by tomorrow, hopefully, so that she can set up an interview, come and see where you live, and then be able to report back to me. I will set the next hearing on May 25th, which is 2 weeks. And if everything looks good at that point, then we can consider dismissing this petition. And
is there any way we can get physical visits? This is not fair to my son. This isn't fair to my son. That's the ultimate. He's wanting to see his mom. I haven't done anything at all. I'm not trying to sound combative. Everything I say, I feel like it's being taken wrong. This happened last time too.
If I may for a second.
I miss my kids.
All right, let's let Mr. Peters speak. Go ahead.
In fairness to us, he was left with us 8 months ago. Nobody told her, nobody told her to do that. She was struggling with substance issues.
Are you kidding me? I'm literally, I can't do this.
That is why he is here right now.
Kroll, just a minute.
That
I
is why
couldn't
he
see
is
my
here
son.
right
He
now.
was with him and
Nobody
there's no
is,
contact
Okay,
order.
stop, Ms.
you,
Kroll, you need to remain quiet while Mr. Peters speaks. All right.
he was left here and she says, nobody let me see my son. I said, nothing prevented you from filing for rights through the courts.
Besides
Nothing-
trauma.
Nothing
Ms. Kroll, I'm
prevented.
gonna mute you because you have a problem staying quiet. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Peters.
And she, you know, all these things have happened and it's been a constant blame game and it's caused more problems for the child because he doesn't understand. And so he exhibits the same behavior because I have a mother that she doesn't want to cooperate. It's everyone else's fault. I didn't do any of this. I bear no responsibility. And it makes it really hard for the adults in the room to handle situations that need to be handled correctly when she's just it's constant. And it's combative, like you said, and it's that constant combativeness. That's what we're dealing with. And lack of responsibility for what she did. She was using narcotics in our home. I had to get a court order to ask her to leave. She became physically assaultive to me in our home, had to ask her to leave. She blames everyone. Anyone that isn't buying the narrative that she's spinning, she gets mad at and says, you know, you're against me and you never wanted me to have my child. Nobody told her to drop him off here. I said I would help take care of him, but I didn't say so you could go further your drug career or go out there and keep using while I had him in my care, which is what she did for 4 months. And only now does she want to get it together and everything, you know, is fine. And that's well and good. But we have a child here that's really been struggling because, you know, he needs to see adults coexisting and getting along and have that kind of those healthy relationships in his lives.
Thank you. Ms. Kroll, if you want to unmute yourself, you may respond. There we go.
I'm having a really hard time with this. Seeing Brad in court, I'm not being dramatic. This is visible. These court cases, it's like our 5th one with no contact orders and lies. And I can't even, my heart starts racing. I don't want to see his face in court. I'm so bad that I didn't even contact anybody. This is traumatic for me. I have an intake appointment for counseling. This is ridiculous. I don't know how to say this. And I'm not getting emotional about it. This is my children. Brad Peters, our relationship was traumatic for me. I didn't use narcotics in the home ever. I had used a few times.
Mr. Peters.
And no, I'm not using it all now. And the way he says stuff, and you give him all this time to talk too, and you shut me down every time I talk. I don't know how to do this. Like if we should have a different judge or what, but I feel attacked. Nobody's seen the way I live. Nobody's seen any of that. And you're believing everything they're saying, and he's making faces. Did you see he wrote, I weighed 87 pounds on our court paperwork? Just that right there. The abusive. I filed paperwork on him for coercive control in an intimate relationship and was supposed to file it again, and I didn't. I failed. I should have moved forward and had some backbone, and I got scared and didn't. And now I'm in a position like this where he has everything over my head. I haven't seen my daughter. He took my home, everything. I lost my job, and I'm not blaming everybody. That relationship was traumatic. And if I did everything he asked me to do, he would take me back in a heartbeat. He was never abused. One time I snapped after 8 years, and that whole year went by and he filed again. And you even denied his order. And then they got approved after 6 more days. It wasn't even changed. I couldn't even bring every time I thought about filling out paperwork, my heart starts racing and I panic. I don't want to be emotional. I just want to get to know my kids again and heal from this. I have a support system. I have my job I can get back. I have a place I can live, everything. I'm healthy for my son. Nothing ever said I wasn't. Our relationship, he's making faces now. Our relationship was extremely toxic. His sister even ran around with me getting paperwork together and stuff and encouraged me. It was an emergency situation to get this file and get him out of the home. And I didn't do it because I couldn't do that to our kids again. And he did it before the drug use was even discovered. He was going to file it for abusing a vulnerable adult. And apparently he was a vulnerable adult I was abusing. And then that happened. And then he had a lot of ammunition. This isn't a thing where I'm just some deadbeat mom where I was running around using drugs instead of being home. I couldn't even be home because he'd fight with me every time I was home and harass me. I have police reports where even the kids wanted to call the cops. He was drunk harassing us. The middle of the night, there's like 3 or 4 police reports of it. I don't have all that paperwork together. And if I was more organized, I would. I couldn't. And I don't want to say I couldn't as in like, it's not possible. It's like, I couldn't do it. I like froze. This is just seeing all the screens and everything. I'm not good in court and I'm not good at making things sound like they are. And so they sound like they're not even a big deal. And I'm probably annoying and sound emotionally charged and the combative part. I'm not trying to be. It's a serious situation for me or my children. You know, I don't
left him here.
I wish I would have got a lawyer. I can't afford that. I can't organize how to say this where it was going to get, you know, the goal I would like instead of frustrating the judge or
having Brad make these faces. I don't even see why he's in court. Kadrian came to my house saying that there was an emergency at the home and Bruno's been being harassed for the last, pretty much the whole time. And he's been treated like crap. Nobody told me any of that. Nobody reached out, messaged me on Facebook or anything and said, look, Bruno's having a really hard time. We can meet up and you can come get him. I can come see how you're living, anything like that. I didn't know until she was serving me that Bruno was having that hard of a time. I figured me being out of the home and no fighting, it would be different. I never would have left him had I thought that. And I definitely didn't want to be gone this long. I miss my home and my children. I had a whole life. This isn't what I want. And I definitely am not using drugs. I'm pregnant. I'm about almost 4.5 months pregnant. It's not my favorite thing right now. I want to focus on my kids, but you know, sometimes things are a blessing. And I'm just doing the best I can. I don't know.
Can I take some time?
I'm not good at court.
All right, Ms. Kroll, I'm going to let Ms. Cuthbert address the court. Go ahead, Ms. Cuthbert.
That's fine.
So what I would like to say is that Bruno, putting the focus, I want to put focus on that. So Bruno has always struggled. We as a family have always known about Bruno's struggles. I know that Ms. Kroll did file paperwork against Mr. Peters. I don't like using that. Okay, Shira filed paperwork against Brad. And I did encourage her and I helped her through that. And she made the decision to drop that. And that was her decision to do. She made the decision to drop Bruno off with Brad. That was her decision as well. And I'm not saying right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm just saying that those are her decisions that she made. And what I'm trying to do personally with Bruno is support him and help him as a child. He's 10 years old. He's got obviously a lot of trauma around all of this. This entire situation has been very traumatic for him. He has expressed that he wants to see his mom. I wouldn't be against helping them facilitate a visit. I do live a very busy life. I have my own children and my own schooling and things like that, but I would be willing to help facilitate visits. I don't think that it really matters all the extra stuff, but I will say that I personally don't take responsibility for checking in on people when they're, doing whatever they're doing. I mean, the phone rings both ways, and I didn't not check on Shira. I just lived my life. So this is kind of aside from the point to me, in my opinion. Right now we're here for Bruno. So what I want to see is reunification between Bruno and Shira in a way that's healthy. And it sounds like we're heading in that direction with Sherry helping to make sure that the situation is healthy for him. I think that that's exactly what needs to happen. I'm totally fine with facilitating maybe a once a week visit. I think that it would be important that there are, that it's written out kind of specific as far as how the visits should go, just so that there's no room for wiggling. That way it's not any more stressful than it has to be, if that makes sense. I'd even be willing to do the visits. If Shira's getting a house, I'd be willing to bring Bruno over there and let him visit and see his room. And I think that that would be really healthy for him, as long as she's clean and doing what she's doing. And I'm not doubting that she is. I'm just saying I can't assume that she's not. I can't assume either way, I guess, if that makes sense. Just the same as I'm kind of taking the same position as the courts. It's really just about making sure that whatever's going on, Bruno's safe. I don't assume that Shira's using. I just can't assume that she's not too, I think. That's just how I feel about it.
All right, I appreciate everybody's comments. I need some additional investigation by Ms. Farr before I'm going to be comfortable with in-person visits.
Okay.
Apparently there's video or telephone that is going on now, and that should continue.
Okay.
I can't see my son.
Not between now and May 25th, when we're going to come back.
That's 2 more weeks.
That is 2 more weeks.
That's a long time.
Well, it's the time necessary for Ms. Farr to advise the court as to what's in the best interest of Bruno. And
his interest would be seeing his mom. I haven't done anything at all to say I'm a bad mom. And if you recall the last court date you saw Brad and I together, he had said clearly, Bruno's always welcome in the home. And if Shira needs any time to sort herself out, that I'm here for him, and she could take as much time as she needs.
Mr. Peters, don't respond.
This isn't like, and Bruno would stop eating. He didn't want to take a shower. He didn't want to eat. He didn't want to be in other people's homes. And he wanted to see his brother and wanted to see his sisters. That's the only reason I took him home.
I made a decision after listening to everybody. I made a decision that I believe is in the best interest of Bruno. And that's what I'm going to.
Can we request a different judge for the next hearing? I don't feel like you even Like you get the smug look on your face, like you don't even like me. And you think I don't even know what it is. And he's going off to laugh. I really feel uncomfortable. Though after the last court date and you already denied the same exact order and then you approved it. This said a whole thing. I have trauma with foster care. I have like court. This is something that is a deep-seated traumatic thing for me. It's showing up in family court type stuff. I don't even understand it all the way. And then to be like,
if I may, Your Honor, and
I
Ms.
really wish I
Kroll,
had it.
Ms.
Somebody
Kroll,
with me here.
if all three of you would call me as soon as this hearing is over, so I have phone numbers for everybody, we can get this moving forward as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Sherry.
Okay, that's the best way to go forward at this point.
Okay. So we'll see everybody back here on May 25th at 10:30. And
His birthday is on the 21st.
we'll be back here on May 25th at 10:30.
His birthday is on the 21st.
Okay,
Do I
thank
get
you,
to see
Your
my
Honor.
son at least on his birthday? That's
I need a report from Ms. Farr.
but that's why his birthday's he only gets one 11th birthday. There's no reason why I shouldn't see him, at least on his freaking birthday.
All right, Ms. Kroll, we're done here. Thank
That's
you.
pretty
I'll see
ugly.
you in
I
2
want a
weeks.
different judge for my next hearing. How do I go about doing that? I'm not kidding. This isn't even.
You're not able to get one because
Why?
Because I made a discretionary.
I don't feel like
ruling in
you're
this
being
case.
impartial. I think that you have a feeling about me, and I'm not comfortable with this. His
Well,
birthday, that's like not even. He deserves to see his mom, and I deserve to see him.
all right. Again, I made my ruling.
So that's
we
in the best interest of Bruno not seeing his mom on his birthday is the best interest is what you feel. I want a
need to
different
hear-
judge.
I need to
I'm not
hear
kidding.
from Ms. Farr.
And I'm not trying to be combative.
What? I'm sorry. What was the date again? May
25th
24th?
at 10:30, and his birthday's the 21st.
May 25th at 10:30.
Okay, thank you.
We'll be back here then. All right, thank you. That's
How
it.
do I proceed with getting a different judge? I know there has to be a way.
I can't advise you on that.
And this only annoyed you more, so you're not going to be partial at all. You're probably just going to grant guardianship. I don't want this.
Shira, I'm not.
I would have passed the UA on Monday, and it would have been dropped.
We're going to be back on the 25th. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to end the meeting now. This is our last case.